Welcome in everybody to the Tony Cutillo Show, right here on the Tony Cutillo Show live on YouTube, on X, on Facebook, you name it. And these are the kind of shows that kind of suck. These are the kind of shows that you really don't want to do. These are the kind of shows that you hate to say you saw it coming. You hate to say that you knew it was coming. You hate to say that it's inevitable. You hate to say it all. But that's where we're at right now. Make sure you get involved right now. Like and subscribe as always. Make sure you're following the show. My man E checking in. What's up, my man E? On the Unscripted Sports Show. Make sure you go give him a follow as well on YouTube. Let me just say, man, this is what happens when your Super Bowl run ends in a trophy and the entire run just takes over the city. Now, like I've been saying, the Sixers are going to be in the spotlight. The Sixers are going to be what everybody's looking at. Even though we got the leather of the pitchers and catchers, we got the woods in the back clicking the ball, we got it all. But unfortunately, we've come to the inevitable. The conclusion I've been talking about for the last 3 years. Not this way, but here we are. And no matter how many times you slice this up, no matter how many times you talk about it, no matter how many options you want to throw out there, guess what? The best is behind us. If you're a Sixers fan, man, like it's the ultimate reality. And it sucks. And you hate to talk about it, but it's true. The ultimate reality is that the best days of Joel Embiid, which we know as the centerpiece of this team, are over. It really are. And we talked about this so many different times. We've talked about this again on several different platforms or several different shows. It doesn't matter. I talked about this 2 years ago on Sirius on the Sunday night show. I talked about this on the podcast. I went on other people's podcasts. We all talked about it. But now it's the reality. Now you're seeing it, right? Before we actually weren't seeing it. Before it was just talked about. Before we were saying, you know what, this is a big guy on with a big body on those legs. It doesn't always end well, but if he could just stay healthy, right, for a certain amount of time. But guess what? We all knew the inevitable. That once the wheels were going to fall off, they were going to fall off hard. And we've seen this in this town multiple times. And I think that the difference with this scenario right here is that, we just signed Joel Embiid to a big time max money extension. And not to say that it was wrong. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is because of that, we all thought and we were all excited. We all thought that, you know what, we're going to be good. We signed Paul George. We're going to be good. We got our big three. And if you look around the NBA, it's the only way you're going to win. However, we did not foresee that this knee injury or whatever we want to call it was going to linger and going to continue to get not better, but worse, right? Not better, but worse. And that's the biggest thing. See, what we all have to realize right here, if you're a 76ers fan, you have to understand, and I'm talking, again, this is the Tony Cutillo Show, not just Philly, right? Not just Philly. We talk about everything. But right now, Philly is in the now, man. It's in the news. This is a big time national topic when it comes to the NBA because it's one of the NBA's best players who has seen his best days. Now, the biggest thing you look at with Joel Embiid is this isn't just an injury that can be easily rectified. This is wear and tear on top of an injury. I'm going to bring up two names, and I brought this up on X when somebody had talked about it, and keep those comments coming. Get to those comments in a little bit. Amari Stoudemire, Byron Houston, Tracy McGrady. These are all guys that once those knees were shot, you hear replacing cartilage, you hear microfracture surgery, you hear like any kind of those words that you hear, that's not an injury you come back from. What it is it there my man E just texted said Grant Hill is another one, right? It's an injury that what you're trying to do is just prolong your career. You're never going to be the same. You're never going to be the same. Like those 70-point games, they're behind us, man. Like I hate to say it. I'm not trying to be negative. I'm not. I'm just trying to be a realist. There's enough Derrick Rose. My man, he's on it. Derrick Rose is another one. You're just never going to be the same. And if Joel Embiid is going to, I'm not just going to say win for, let's say compete for a championship. Unfortunately, it's not going to be here. And we've talked about this before. It's just not going to be here. You have to go back and you have to look at the history of specific players. Now, I don't go back like Bill Walton days. Like I don't know. Like I didn't see Bill Walton play, but I know a lot of people were talking about Bill Walton. Had the same kind of deal where he became a secondary option. On another team to win a championship, right? So who I remember is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. When Kareem went to the Lakers from the Bucks, Kareem was not the same Lou Alcindor, right? He was the same guy. Kareem was a guy that was looking to be a piece, with Magic, with Worthy, right? Like he was a piece. Well, guess what? The sad reality is the new sad reality of Joel Embiid is that he is no longer a guy. Or I should say, he is no longer the guy. He's going to be a guy. Now, does that mean that we can build something here? Or I don't know, man. I don't know. There is just, for me, I have to be honest, man. Like I can't hold these things back. We've been on a shitstorm in this entire season for the Sixers. And with everything playing out, with the lackluster effort that we've seen, just the lack of transparency within the organization and everything that's going on with Joel. And I get it. Listen, I am not going to sit here and rip down Joel Embiid. However, what I am going to say, what's one thing that bothers me is, the other day, they showed like back behind the scenes in practice, and he's playing tag with Tyrese Maxey, like Joel Embiid, like everything that's going on right now that you're playing tag. Like I just I don't know what's going on right now. I don't know what's going on, and I don't think anybody knows what's going on. And I think that unfortunately, because we all don't know what's going on, and because there's no transparency, because Daryl Morey has come out one time, because Nick Nurse has been forced to play the Brett Brown role, where you can see he's extremely frustrated because guess what? He's given no information. He don't even know who the hell his starting line is going to be because he don't even know who's going to be available until a couple hours before game time. This is your head coach that's trying to devise a game plan. Like this entire team is dysfunctional right now. It is. It's just completely dysfunctional. I don't know any other way you get around this. I honestly don't. How can you tell me that this is an organization that has the best interest in heart? And I'll be honest with you. I saw somebody throw something out there, and I'm sorry. Like I have to call it what we see, right? I have to call it the way we see it. They had to know that this was not going to work this year. Meaning the injury for Joel Embiid was going to be something that they knew they weren't going to get past. Were they trying just to sell tickets? Were they trying to make their money back in season ticket plans? I don't know any other reason why you wouldn't have shut him down months ago when I talked about it. Why did you even come into the season like this? Remember when he came into the season, everybody would talk about they were so so shady about it. Well, what other reason do you have to be shady about it? Like, let's use common sense. What other reason do you have to be shady about the injury in the beginning of the year? It's got to be to sell tickets. I don't know any other reason. And if that is the case, it's a shame because they've taken advantage of the consumer, which is at the end of the day, the ones that are out there paying their hard-earned money to get a product that is absolutely inferior right now on the court. It's such a shame, man. It is because we deserve better. We do. Meaning not from what happened. What I'm saying is we deserve better as a fan base to at least be given full transparency of what's going on. We deserve that, right? We deserve that. And that's the problem. Like, my whole issue is, and again, I could probably get in trouble for this, man. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I do work for the Blue Coats, and if they see, they're probably gonna tell me shut it down. But I gotta be transparent here. I don't know any other reason why that they hid this injury. And I'm going to say something too. I know a lot of people were talking about the Olympics. I have a difference of opinion on that. I do. Right? I do. I honestly think I have zero problem with him playing in the Olympics. Zero. I don't have a problem because I don't think they had. Listen, you can say whatever you want. This is an injury. Okay. This is or a condition. I'm not even calling it an injury. It's not an injury anymore. It's a condition. Right? This is a condition that's they knew and he knew was never going to get any better. Yes, he could have rested. Yes, he didn't have, but this is like at the end of the day, like I think about the human being. Call me what you want, say I'm wrong, it doesn't matter, but I am who I am, man. And I think about the human being. And these guys, well, no matter what we want to talk about, they're still human beings, right? They still have feelings, they still have goals. I don't care if they're making millions of dollars, it doesn't matter. Right. So he had an opportunity to go win a gold medal. Who am I or who is anybody to say he shouldn't have gone on that? Right. If we had the medical staff that they say we do, if with today in modern medicine and physical therapy and sports medicine, you mean to tell me that even if he went there and played for 10 minutes, okay, 10 minutes, throw a couple jump shots around, want to go about, he still didn't have time to rehab? No, man. Yes, he did. He could like. I'm not even buying into that. This is listen. This is a problem to where he got a procedure done. Okay, that just never ever worked, and we've seen this before. And that's why I say like you need to start looking around, man. You need to start looking around at some of the players that had this issue. You need to look around at it because I'm telling you right now, this is not going to end well. And the quicker that you accept it, the less angry you're going to be. Okay? The less angry you're going to be. Like we're in a situation right now where we might not be good for the next 7 years. The NBA is not easy. It's not easy to turn around, man, with this kind of star power. It just at the end of the day, you have to look at this the right way. You heard Daryl Morey when he wants to talk, when he said, "Hey, you need 2 to 3 superstars to win." Okay, I, and that's the problem. So now, let's shift this conversation for. Let me get to some comments first because I know a lot of people have been checking in. So let's get to that. My man David checking in. He's always checking about Anaheim and talking about. I'm not good with hockey, Dave. I'm sorry. I don't know much about the hockey trade. E says I dropped the show today about the Sixers. It was sad to do. You know it, man. You know it. What's up, bro? Paul George should head back to the. Listen, Paul George. What a disappointment, man. You say what you. What a goddamn disappointment. Like, let's remember, right? Why did we bring in Paul George? Number one, we brought him in because we needed that defender, right? We talked about it. We needed his D. He's a very, very above average defender when he's healthy and he's got a good pinky, right? So we brought him in for that reason. But we also brought him in because we needed somebody. Because again, we knew. See, that's why I keep saying we knew, right? Yes, you needed him as part of a big three. However, you saw that Tyrese Maxey, even though we love him, could not handle the team on his back for an extended period of time by himself. They knew Joel was dinged up. So that gave them extra incentive to go out there and get Paul George because they knew in their mind, oh, well, you know what? If Joel's going to miss some games, Paul George, man, he'll cover us. PG, he'll cover us 25, 26 points when he has to. He could serve it up. We're good to go. Nothing. 2 points, 6 points. Man, what a disappointment Paul George has been. He says, this is the worst 76er season in my lifetime because this team was expected to win 50 plus and get a top 5 seed. As much as I give this team, I still thought they'd win 55 games at third seed. Listen, I thought they were a top 5 team, man, when they came in. All the bench pieces that they brought in, a little bit of the youngsters they had, the insertion of them. I thought this was a really good team, man. This was a really good team, and man, was I wrong. I was wrong. Completely wrong. It says Nurse is going to be the scapegoat. Yeah, man, listen, I'm going to tell you, we know that, right? Unfortunately, I accepted it 2 years ago after we lost to the Celtics. My man, Danny Gallagher checking in. Daniel's Plumbing. Make sure you check him out. As always, it's an awesome. He's got a new podcast called The Boiler Room, which I can't wait to be on one day. He just had Gary Barbera on, which is awesome. Where great dude, great studio. Wait till you see it, man. It's a throwback. Make sure you go check it out. Boiler Room. Just Google Boiler Room on Facebook, man. Boiler Room Podcast doing big things. My man Foods checking in as always. He says, "What's up, man? I'm doing good, Foods. I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Doing the best I can. Right, living the best that I can." So let's go back real fast and how ironic this is, because I think we all admit and we all know that the best opportunity that we had was with Jimmy Butler. I think we all know that, right? We don't have to rehash that. We all know. But the ironic part about it is when you think about this, you think about the situation that happened with Jimmy Butler this year. Jimmy Butler goes and says, I want to be traded, right? He goes up against one of the biggest, executives, Hall of Fame executives, very stern, Pat Riley, and he plays the game. And Jimmy says, I don't want to play here, man. Like, it's not for me. Like, whatever was going on, Jimmy didn't want to be there, but he also wanted an extension, right? And they weren't going to give him an extension because of his age. That's just not what they wanted to do. They said, look, man, you still got a couple years. No way. We're not going to do it. But the ironic part is where everybody said, Jimmy's done. Listen, Jimmy may be done as the guy, right? But he's not done as a guy. So he goes to Golden State, and instantly, Golden State, they turn into a contender out there, man. Like, again, instantly. Why? Because Jimmy's a player. Jimmy's a guy. Jimmy's a guy that could still produce. Can he carry your team? No. He's not that guy anymore. But can he give you a really good 28 to 30 minutes of hardcore veteran leadership, great defense, gritty play? Okay, give Steph another option. That's not a guy that's going to shoot from 3, but a guy that's going to get in there, like a Kuminga, get in there and get to the lane and get to the glass. Well, guess what? That's what we're talking about right here with Joel Embiid. Like, what you saw Jimmy Butler do this year as being a guy is what, unfortunately, Joel Embiid's going to have to do somewhere else. He's going to have to be a guy. That's reality. That's the new sad reality of Joel Embiid. And we watched this guy, and we watched him, a man amongst boys. Everything that he was able to do, transform into a top 3, top 2 NBA player. I mean, those years where we're going back and forth, is it Jokic? Is it Embiid? Is it Jokic? Is it Embiid? Right? Things that guys that are 7 foot, not supposed to be able to do. He's so soft with his feet. And then everything just started to fall apart, man. And that's what happens. That's what happens. If you watch sports long enough, we watched it in Philadelphia with the Phillies. God bless his soul, man. Doc Holliday, rest in peace. We love him to death, man. But guess what? When Doc lost it, he lost it hard. Never got it back. Never got it back. And all these, moments that we had, man, just cherish them because that was our time. The window, unfortunately, is closed now for the 76ers. We have to come to grips with that. Now we have to start looking towards the future. Listen, I don't even know if Joel was even tradable, right? At this point. That's the thing. Like, I know people talk about trade. Like, I talked about trading them a few years ago, right? But right now, look, he's damaged goods supposedly, right? However, you've seen crazier things in the NBA. Like, we're not. You never know what could happen. But you take a team, any team, right? That's right in the mix. Take a team like Cleveland. You take a team like Boston, right? Porzingis goes down. Mobley or Jared Allen go down, right? And you need that extra body, you need that extra piece, you need that extra chip, right? You talk about my man Javon checking in. He's right. He says Minnesota, right? Or the Magic, right? Like Javon knows what I'm talking about. Like this is what we have come to now. To where now we have to start focusing on the rebuild of this roster. We have to think about how is this going to look. This is no more rumors here, man. This is no more hot takes. This is reality. It's been reality. Let's face it, man. This has been reality, but people didn't want to believe it. It's been reality, but we've been on our Eagles high for very, very long, right? We've been on the Eagles high for very, very long. The problem now is, though, you got a big contract in PG-13. That's going to be a bad contract. I was wrong. I thought it was going to be a good contract for 2 years. I thought 2 years of PG-13, 2 years of Embiid, 2 years of Big Three would give us an opportunity to compete for a championship. I seriously did. I thought that was it, man. But guess what? One thing you have to give the NBA credit for, as much as it's a very unwatchable product right now, the one thing about the NBA that I do understand is that the rest of the NBA has gotten good real fast. Okay? Real fast. We've talked about this before. If you look around the NBA, man, there are some studly players, man. Studly players. And if everything, like, you see what's going on in OKC, we've talked about. Listen, I talked about in the beginning of the year about Orlando. Like, I am a huge Orlando Magic fan. Just from a basketball standpoint. Just from a basketball standpoint. So, yeah, it's just, when you look at it and you look at the excitement around that team, man, everybody's getting good. Everybody's getting good. Javon says, I could see it being a guy, like you said, with Ann Edwards or the Magic with Paulo or Franz Wagner, right? Big opportunity. That's the sad reality of Joel Embiid, right? The rebuild starts with keeping your pick, like Javon says, came into the night with 37% chance at top 4 pick. Wow. Like, think about that. Like, that's a huge, like, and that's why, see, that's what bothers me, Javon. Like, I talk about this maybe before you joined, but that's what bothers me because I firmly suspect that they knew he had something going on and they hid it. They didn't tell people. Okay. It's why I really feel like that was the defining reason on why they went out and brought in Paul George, because they knew that Paul George was going to have to carry this team some nights. Okay. Because they knew that this was going to be a lingering thing. They obviously want to sell tickets. Like, I used to have a season ticket package, right? They were calling me all season, all off season. It stopped in December, man. Like, it stopped. I think they knew, right? It's sad. I went down to a game. I took me and my 2 boys to a game. I paid $4 a ticket, man. I'm serious. $4 a ticket I paid for lower level seats. With fees, I paid $22.37 to get 3 tickets lower level to go watch the Raptors and the Sixers. And then I bought another game, okay, against Utah on a Sunday. Okay, I think it's actually this Sunday, right? And I paid $37. And you ask why? Well, because I like to get out with my boys. I like to get out. Um, I like to take them out, let them do different things. So we're together. Okay, I like to hang out with my two sons, and so I do like to go every now and then. And maybe like I am looking at guys like I want to watch. Guys like Justin Edwards. I want to watch guys like Ricky Council, right? Like they're the guys I want to watch. So it's sad, man. It's sad. My man Joe Jackson said these players getting paid insane money, and it's just it's getting worse, man. Like the money just keeps going up, John, going up and going up and going up. He says it's at Major League Baseball season. Yeah, it is, man. Pitchers and catchers, it definitely is. So hopefully the Phillies give us a little more to look at, right? Or says it's not good look when NHL is a better product than the NBA. Yeah, I mean it's crazy. My man Mike checking it says I just got what we're talking Sixers tonight, Mike. We're talking Joel Embiid's new sad reality of what we knew, right? Of what we knew a while ago, but now the reality has hit a lot of people that didn't know and didn't want to believe it. That this guy is just a guy now. He's not the guy, he's a guy. Javon says, look, now, here's a great point. Javon says, look how Memphis rebuilt or reloaded their franchise all through the draft. Jaren Jackson, Desmond Bain, Jalen Wells, Brandon Clark. Sixers might do the same. Javon, I agree. I don't know if I'm confident in even though they've shown that like decent players, man. Right? They show some decent players. So listen, McCain was a good pick, right? So I mean, you think about it. He comes back. You got Tyrese. That kind of is like where we need to start, right? That's kind of like where we need to start, right? I still think Ricky Council is going to be a tremendous player, man. I still think he's a tremendous player. I continue to say that. Joe says, hey, question. You think Embiid's issue stemmed back at Kansas? Yeah, for the knee, no, I don't. I'll talk real fast about what just my experiences. Um, not me personally. I mean, look at me. I'm no athletic guy, right? But I've watched. I've coached soccer for many years, and even with my son, I've seen my son sprout from like 5'2" to like 6 foot, quick, right? Quick. And then, as he was playing, he got real awkward. And, when you get awkward, what happens is your knees do funny things, your legs do funny things. And we have to remember that, he only played basketball for a few years. So what I think, Joe, is I look at, I don't think it stemmed from Kansas. I think what the injury stems from is a guy that never really put any pressure, on his joints to do what he's doing now for a prolonged series of time. And I think that is a problem. A lot of people say, "Oh, it's good." He doesn't have a lot of wear on the tires. Unfortunately, though, it with muscle memory that does play the opposite effect at times, right? So, like, if you are a youngster and from middle school and you understand the way you need to work out and your body understands the movements on the court and you kind of loosen those tendons up and those joints. And Joel Embiid, in my opinion, never really had that, right? He had it when he got to the pro level. And we watched Joel. I mean, he would bang and fall and get hit and like. Listen, you can say what you want about him being soft, but he really wasn't. I mean, he was getting hit all over the place. So I honestly think this just stemmed from his first few years in the league, and it just got prolonged over time. And then when he got those few injuries, they just listen, those tendons and stuff that, once they start cleaning you out and they start grabbing things and stretching things and replacing things, like it's never good. It never goes back. So I honestly think it wasn't stemming back to Kansas. I think it stemmed back from, his first few years in the league, because his just body wasn't um, used to doing that, man. Really. Uh, Mike says, I have no idea how to fix this roster. You're right. The issue with McCain's script, he says from the Unscripted Sports Show, he says, I think he's too much like Maxi and small. I disagree. I disagree. I think he showed. I think he showed that he was able. Right. I think he showed that he was able to hold his own. I really do. My Sonia, happy 50. Keep it going, man. Keep it going. I see I'm glad you got back and everything's going well. I'm glad to see you back and doing your thing. I appreciate it. Yeah, so sad for Joel Embiid. It really, really is, man. Javon says it's funny how the Sixers can find talent in the draft, but struggle with free agent decisions. And now they're trying to get younger. Yeah, it's crazy, man. Like it is so nuts how this just completely changed. That's like I never for in my life have seen such a hyped up season just hit a wall so hard. And saw it early going on too, right? Like and saw it early going on. And that's my issue. Um, that is my issue. Like seeing it early, going on is one of my biggest things. Like that team didn't look right in the very beginning. Honestly, it did. It didn't look right in the very beginning, and to me, that was one of the biggest problems. Like we all saw it, right? We all saw it, and I keep saying, man, it's it sucks when you see it play out. It does. It sucks when you see it play out. It just does, man. It really, really does. Make sure you go check out my girl Sonia over there at Prim and Proper Sports. Prim and Proper Sports. I was a guest on the show. She always has great content, like Wednesdays, Fridays. She got all kinds of topics, man. She does some really good work out there. So make sure Prim and Proper Sports, Prim and Proper Sports. Make sure you go check that out. He says, would you have traded in? Oh, would I? Like, let me talk about that for a second. Cause, again, this is the Tony Cutillo Show. We are live right here, YouTube, X, Facebook. You know the drill, man. Like, subscribe. We're doing well, man. We got a lot of good segments that we're doing, a little bit of everything for everybody. Trying to hit hard. So one thing about that Luka trade, man, like I still don't know what happened, right? Like I don't even want to talk about it, but I definitely would have traded. I would have taken Luka in a second, man. Like honestly, like I was ready. I was ready to trade Embiid 2 years ago. I was ready to trade Embiid 2 years ago, and strictly because I knew this was the problem. Like this was coming, man. This was coming. I saw it. I understood it. But at the time, obviously they were all bought in, and everybody was like, no, 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 this is the guy. This is it. So I again, we had a ride with it, right? But I want to mention something about Luka, man. Like and about today's NBA, and I brought this up because Luka just put on a dominant performance the other night for the Lakers. And he's done that in the past, right? Typical Luka Doncic. It's tremendous, tremendous player. The NBA, unfortunately, is in such a sad state that when I was growing up and I was watching the NBA religiously, right? Like it was what I waited for. Like I heard my man Broads talk about it. I love Hunter Brody. I could listen to Broads. Broads is my dude, man. Like he's one of those guys for me. So I respect his grind and love to see his rise all over, which is great. But he mentioned it. Like he's younger than me, but NBA, man, I couldn't wait to watch the NBA game. All-Star weekend, Friday night basketball, Sunday afternoons, 3:30, NBC. Like, I couldn't wait, right? That is all gone. So I remember specific performances, right? Like everybody talks about the Reggie Miller choke game, right? With Spike Lee. I mean, I watched that shit live, right? I'll always forget. I'll always remember that. The Kobe games that were just like unheard of, man. Scoring 70 plus, like unheard. I watched those games, right? There were so many games that I watched over the years. And what sucks now is you have a performance like that with Luka Doncic, and unless nobody unless you don't see it on a social media reel, it doesn't get his notoriety, man. Doesn't get the same notoriety. And it sucks because it deserves to, but it'll never get it anymore because nobody's watching. Nobody's watching. And the NBA product is in such a bad place right now. You're talking about shortening games again. Like, are you serious? Like, I mean, I don't even understand how that's even on the table from David Silver. Listen, this league died, in my opinion, with David Stern. You could say whatever you want about David Stern, but he was one of the best ever. Okay, in any organization, any association. And right now, you're seeing the effects, in my opinion, of an entity that is solely focused on revenue coming in, number one, from a global TV aspect and a global audience, and also a sports betting revenue. And guess what? Whether we watch it or not, it doesn't matter. It's guaranteed money. It's billions of dollars. So it doesn't matter. That's the bad part. That's the bad part right now. What's going on with the NBA. And it's not going to change. It's going to continue down the same path. Right? It's going to continue down the same path. It sucks. So that's why I say all the time, like if people say, do you watch basketball? Yeah, I do. I watch the WNBA. I watch college and I watch the WNBA. And I honestly, the WNBA is a competitive game every time I put it on. I don't care who's playing. I don't care whether it's Caitlyn or not Caitlyn. It doesn't freaking matter. Those games are competitive as hell, and every single one of them have a storyline for a reason. Okay? Every single one of them have a storyline that we want to follow. That's why I watch the WNBA. Okay? WNBA. And for you to sit there and say that you also you don't want to try to see what Caitlin Clark has been able to do, you're an idiot. Like at the end of you're an idiot, dude. Like this is what Steph Curry was doing, changing the game, right? From outside on the perimeter. But not just Steph Curry. Like if you take the shots away, if you take her overall game, just the impact. If we want to talk about the impact, okay? And I talked about this before, right? And I got a lot of heat from this. I talked about this before, and I'm going to continue to say it. I'm not signaling out one person per se, okay? However, A'ja Wilson, ridiculous. Unfortunately, nobody talked about A'ja Wilson until Caitlin Clark got into the mix. So all I'm saying is, Caitlin elevated the platform. Caitlin elevated the game. And it opened the eyes up. Unfortunately, listen, I'm not happy about I think it sucks that nobody knew who A'ja Wilson was. I think it sucks that nobody was watching these girls. I do. But there's nothing we could do about it. Right? It's revisionist history. There's nothing we can do about it. But we can't hate somebody. Okay? We can't hate somebody because they're getting all the notoriety. Okay? No, you're hating the wrong person. Okay? You're hating the wrong person. You should be liking what she's done in order to open it up for everybody else. Okay? And the only reason why I say that is because you're watching the way she's putting a stamp on the game. and allowing everybody else to elevate. And now you're seeing it, I can't wait to see Juju Watkins in a WNBA. I can't wait to see Paige Beckers on a WNBA court, right? But we weren't even talking about any of that. We weren't talking about any of that before, right? But now we are, and that's a great thing, man. That is a great friggin' thing. I mean, this year, the trade deadline in the WNBA, like it was like, yo, it was legit. Like everybody was watching it. Like everybody. Why? Because the product is finally blowing up. And I'm telling you right now, man, if it continues to go this way, they are going to outlast the NBA audience easily. Easily. Because people want to buy into competition, man. Like, I don't want to see a bunch of empty seats. I don't want to see a bunch of players that could care less if they play. Like, that's one thing. Can you let me ask you this, and we'll get right back to the Sixers. I'm sorry. Again, this is the Tony Cutillo Show live right here on YouTube, YouTube, X, Facebook, wherever you get your socials from. Get over there and check it out. But get over to that YouTube page, like and subscribe, because there's more than just the Tony Cutillo Show here live. I got segments for wrestling, baseball, basketball, soccer, football, music, got interviews, you name it, all kinds of stuff on there. So go check it out. Check out the platform. But let me say that for anybody, and Javon's a good one if he's still tuning in, because I know he watches the product. I know you watch the product. If my man Japan was on here, I know he would watch the product. But have you ever turned on a WNBA game and questioned the efforts of a player? Have you ever turned on the WNBA game and be like, yeah, they don't even want to be here. They don't even care. No, they all hustling, man. They're all hungry. They are all hungry. A lot of people think that sometimes, when things turn around and people get their bag, right? It's going to be a long time before the WNBA women get the bag that the NBA gets. They'll never get that close, but they're going to get triple and quadruple what they're making now. We know that, right? But everybody keeps thinking, you get the bag and they're all going to shut down. And no, man, listen, here's what I will say. They've been hungry for so goddamn long. They've been hungry for so long that they want this notoriety because they know they deserve it. And now, they're so prideful that they're going out there, but like, now we're really going to show them what they've been missing, right? Now they're really going to show them what they've been missing. That's what they're saying, right? That's what they're saying. Again, that is the greatness of the WNBA. Javon says, I went to an Aces game in Vegas last summer when they played the Sky, and the experience was electric. Both teams played hard. Exactly. Right? The enthusiasm is there. You can feel it. You can see it. The competition is there. That 90s, early 2000s NBA competition is what you're seeing in the WNBA right now. But it's not going to go away. It's not going to go away because not just because it's new, but now everybody wants to come in trying to knock off somebody, right? In a good way. Just like, Bird and Magic want to come in. And, you know what? Hold on. Speaking of that, I want to bring something up too. I thought was a fantastic point from Charles and Shaq the other night. I think it was last week when they talked about face the game. Charles was pissed when he was like, look, man, why somebody got to anoint you the face of the game? Like when guys came in like Michael and Magic, they wanted to take it. Like they took it. They battle for that shit, man. Why does everybody got to have things given to them? Right. And that's the thing with WNBA. Nobody is giving them shit, man. Nobody. He says the Reese and Clark rivalry is great. I firmly agree. I love it. I love it. I love the back and forth. I know, but I love it. Keep it going. Get it on socials, get it in the paper, get the comment. I love it. Like we're back now. Like, see, that Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark dynamic is what we saw in the 90s, is what we saw in the early 2000s, right? That's what we saw. I want that. Bring it, man. Bring it. Like that's what we want. That's what we want. He says, I watched the WNBA finals when the Liberty finally won it. It was like the Knicks in exactly. It was like the Knicks in the mid 90s. Javon says, you see it with you. This is a good point. He says, you see it with Unrivaled right now. Those games have been competitive and fun. They even have 1v1 tournaments that grab people's attention. You know, and Javon, the crazy thing is, man, it's going to just continue. It's all going to continue. You know why? Because the whole thing about any fan of any sport, they all know they're going to spend money, right? When you're a fan, you're going to go spend money to watch a product. You already understand that. You're going to spend money whether you go to the stadium or the court to watch the product, or you're going to pay for it in premium channels at home to watch the product. You already know that, right? What you want back is effort. That's what you want. You want effort and you want passion. You want to say, yeah, this is why I'm buying this. Like when you got, like, I'll bring up wrestling for a minute. I'm a big wrestling fan. So when you buy a WrestleMania ticket that's astronomically priced, right? You understand it's because you're buying a WrestleMania ticket, but you're also expecting a hard-fought, passionate product back when you're going and watching. Like I replayed the Undertaker and Triple H in a Hell in a Cell with Shawn Michaels, HBK, who was Myko, as a special guest referee. Watching WrestleMania 18 with Rock versus Hogan, right? Watching these dynamics and this passion that these wrestlers bring. That's what you're paying for. And right now, nobody wants to pay for that in the NBA because it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. It's a shame. Like none of it exists. And the WNBA, that's where it does. That's where it does. I hope Philly gets a WNBA team too. How awesome would that be? Right? How awesome would that be? And that's where we're at right now. So to bring this back full circle, so I like to go 45 minutes to an hour, because I got some Raw on Netflix to watch for sure, and I got some work to do. But you know, bringing this back to Joel Embiid, because I got some great memories, man. Like we do. The problem is, this could go down as the best player ever to never get to a finals. When you think about it, as great as he was, he's never going to be remembered for getting us to where we needed to go. And, at least when you look at Philadelphia in general, let's just look at Philadelphia, right? We were so hard on Donovan McNabb, right? So hard on Donovan McNabb. So many different times. However, at least with McNabb, we respected that he got us to where we needed to be. Didn't win, but he got us there. We could argue all day long if you play well, if you didn't play well. There's certain things I still say we should have went again. When he left the field against Arizona, he left with the lead, man. The defense gave up that game to get back there another time. But at the end of the day, he was there for us. He got us to where we needed to be. So when you think about it, in this town, it's all about, did you get us to where we needed to be? Listen, 2008, boom, we win the World Series. They got us back there. Yeah, it sucked, but they got us back there, right? The Philadelphia Phillies, right now, we can say what we want. Been in the World Series and lost. However, got us to where we wanted to go. Unfortunately, Joel Embiid will never be able to say that. And he's never going to be able to say that. It's like that journey is now over. Like we're never going to be able to look back and say, yeah, you know what? At least Joe got us there. No, man. Like, think about this, man. Think about, like, and I laugh because I still think about it and I say to myself, wow, like, most coaches, when they come into a situation and they see that there's talent there in their press conference, normally what they say is my role is to win a championship. Ultimately, my role is to come here and win you a championship. Nick Nurse, who I love, just think about it. His press conference, did he say that? No. You know what he said? What did he say? We all remember? My job is to come here and get you out of the second round. Wow. So we were hiring a coach to get us out of the second round. Man, does that suck to hear that. And again, that was the reality. We listen, we didn't buy into it. We didn't face it because, listen, we've been blessed with so many good, fortunate things over the last couple of years. Whether it be Sixers driven, whether it be Phillies driven, whether it be Eagles driven, obviously with just winning a Super Bowl, right? But now the main focus becomes, where do we go from here? And like I said, I'm going to end this again. Is look, I hope that Joel Embiid can get something and be able to get into a place where he wins a ring or has an opportunity. And listen, I hope that it would be here, but I don't know how that's possible, right? Like he can't be here with that contract. Like he needs to be here with that contract to be the guy. He can't be here with that contract to be a guy. He can go somewhere else with that contract to be a guy, but he can't be here as a guy. He has to be here as the guy. And that's where we're at right now. So again, Tony Cutillo right here. Wow. I think we're officially tanking the Bulls 109 to Sixers 73 right now live. Wow. Like I can't believe that we're talking about this February 24th, 2025, right after the All-Star break, and we're that far out of contention. That sucks, man. That so sucks. I cannot believe it. I cannot believe it, man. It just sucks so bad. It really does. But that's where we're at, people. That's where we're at. Again, if you haven't subscribed, you haven't make sure you subscribe to the Tony Cutillo show on YouTube, man. Like again, it's been great. I think I'm up to 411, 412 subscribers, and listen, man, I'm happy. Like I'm growing this organically. I decided to finally do my own show on my own in this. It's been great. It's been great, and keep it locked in. March 13th. For the debut right now of an all new show with me and Mr. Tom Arnone on A2D Radio, which I'm extremely excited about. Big time, man. Big time. Something we've been trying to plan together for the last 5 years. Finally coming to fruition. He's got a great audience over there, a great platform. I feel like I have the same. Look at this, man. This is the kind of shit I love. He says, I just wanted to say you have inspired me to keep growing my channel, Tony E. Listen, man, I saw your comments about the segments and a little thing. Man, keep it growing, bro. Like, seriously. It's what it's all about. Like, I will be honest with you, man. Like, it's a freaking grind. It's a grind. It's very hard because, you get to see, how clicky it is, right? That meaning if you're not in a group of good of a bunch of people with big following counts, and they just grow on their own because it's like, hey, subscribe to my channel. Subscribe. I will tell you this, man. Like I'm very proud of this, and I'm telling you, if you do it the right way, it will pan out. And what I mean by that is, do the right content, take the time, do it the right way. Everything you see, I do myself. Everything. The only thing I did not do myself was the intro, which I absolutely love, by my girl Christy Pressman, who does a fantastic job in AI. That is a full AI intro, by the way. that I had done, and she did a marvelous job. My girl Jenny, who does my artwork, who does my thumbnails, who does my quote images, um, she did a fantastic job designing the Tony Cutillo Show logo. But when it comes to everything else, that's me, man. It's me. And you take the time. You learn how to take the time in order to make it grow. And it doesn't matter if you have 100 followers or 1 million followers. All it's about is, do you have engagement, right? Do you have people that actually want to listen to you talk? And again, you'll find your audience, and I give a hats off to all you guys that are always on here. My man Richie D, my man Javon, my man Eric, right? Like, again, my man Mikey V. As always, like, my man Foods, the guys that are always checking in. My girl Sonia, always checking in, right? Carm, Kelsey Nicole Nelson, like, all my supporters, the supporters that support me, who I support them back, man. Like, fantastic people within the industry that I have a tremendous amount of respect for, that give me that same respect back. And you learn that. And that's what you need to build it on, man. Like, that's what you need to build it on. You need to build it on that. He says, right, listen, I only have 50 now. Listen, I will tell you this. I will tell you this, E. It'll happen. Again, I had 151 subscribers. Okay. This is a true story. You go look at the video if you want. I had 151 subscribers. I had a Baker Mayfield video go viral with 151 subscribers. I labeled it the right way. I tagged it the right way. It was a great piece of content that I clipped 2 minutes and 13 seconds, right at the peak when the playoffs were starting and the Bucks were in the playoff, right? It went viral to almost 10,000 views organically, over 162 comments, right? And then all of a sudden, I double my subscriber base. I only had 150 people. But again, that's what you got to do. You just got to keep hitting it, right? You just got to keep hitting it. You got to understand, it's also, what I will tell you is, it's not always about how much content you put out. It's about the quality of the topic, but also the way you direct it throughout socials, and throughout YouTube, the way you SEO it, the way you label it, right? There's a lot of different things. There's a lot of different things that'll happen, and eventually, again, it will grow. Eventually, it will grow. I promise you that. I do. And I promise you too. I'll get this on a lot because we got 2 minutes left. I didn't forget about you, man. I've never been so busy before in my life. Um, you know, which is a good thing. It's a good busy. But as I got my last son who's a senior in high school this year, so I'm excited. He's got a lot of activities going on. I want to make sure I'm at everything. So and I got a lot of cool things going on behind the scenes. The PR company's growing. I'm taking on new roles with other companies, which is great. So I didn't forget about your intro. I'm gonna take care of that. I promise. I'll take care of that. We'll get that going. So let me get out of here. As always, Tony Cutillo Show live. Make sure you like, subscribe on YouTube. I appreciate everybody as always with the support. We're gonna start talking Phillies baseball next week, man. I'm gonna get my boy Jim McGinnis on, my man Jimmy Mack. Get him on, see what's going on in Philly land, what to expect, 5-6 man rotation. Also, I have a guy, a secret gem who I think could be really, really, really nasty this year in a good way for us in the pitches that nobody's talking about. I'm gonna do some content on that as well. Then we got the Elimination Chamber coming up, and then obviously it's WrestleMania season. And then I'm gonna get into some music too. I'm getting some different segments made, some power ranking segments, some top threes. I'm a big music fan. I've always been a big music fan, and hip hop, R&B, all good, especially 90s. Huge fan. And there's a lot of up and coming artists that I've been connecting with, talking to. So I want to bring them on the platform, but I also want to talk and get everybody's gauge, on the state of music now as opposed to what it was in yesteryear, because I am just a huge music fan, and I create this platform to be able to talk about whatever the hell I want. right? So that's what we're going to do. So as always, everybody stay safe, stay healthy, make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll catch you back here